All right, good evening, everyone. The time is 7:05 p.m. I want to announce that a quorum is present and call to order this regular city council meeting. Everyone, please stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Bow your heads. Dear Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for another day, another life, to live life that's pleasing in your sight. As you continue to bless our city staff, bless our city council, bless our residents, bless our business partners, bless our guests in the city. Help us to continue to live in a manner that's pleasing in your sight. Give us wisdom to make decisions that's going to take care of your city. Thank you for all you're going to do in our life. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, may be seated. All right, council members, we'll start off with some public comments. We have two for today. And we're going to start off with Mr. Robert. Mr. Robert, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Once again, I find it offensive when you say a prayer because as far as I can tell, every time you open your mouth, you're telling a lie, and every time you don't open your mouth, it's a lie of omission. We had a murder in our town. My friend Donald McVeigh, you've never said one word about his killing. There's a killer loose in our neighborhood. No one seems to care. Well, we're trying to keep it positive. I'm positive there's a killer loose. I happen to think our police department has a good idea who it is. Why haven't they put the suspect's picture in the newspaper? Why haven't you offered a reward? Why aren't the churches doing a dang thing about it? If that was Pete Dwyer, there'd be a front page article and a $50,000 reward. But if it's a, quote, poor black person, who cares? Certainly not Manor. You guys are putting townhomes on top of black people's graves. Now here you're doing Manor-Palooza in a second here. I'm surprised. We're doing the sausage eating contest again. Is this our way of thriving for all the new medical centers that we're going to need? Because that's self-mutilation. That's not a sporting event. Why are we paying $25,000 for that? Now here we are declaring Earth Day. We can't even put in a recycle can. Not one recycle can anywhere in the city. Sonia Wallace, bless her, is not here tonight. She still can't figure out how to rent a dumpster in 4 years. Doesn't that get a little tiresome? It does for me. Now we got the mayor's report in here. You still can't spell Timmerman Park, sir. You've been here 6 years and you still cannot spell Timmerman Park. And in a minute, when we come to the public impact fees, if Barth Timmerman's on there, I'm going to eat my hat. That's why I didn't bring a hat tonight. Speaking of recycling and Earth Day, how come we didn't put solar-powered lights in Timmerman Park? Let's ask our Public Works Director that one. And by the way, what about the ping pong tables? Don't you think they might like lights over there too? And what about the other end of the bocce courts? Don't you think that might be useful to have both ends of the bocce court be lit at the same time? Did you want to put lights at the washer pits or the cornhole things either? No, I never thought of that. You guys are working so slow, it's an embarrassment. Good news is we have a judge. Judge Gamble is taking my case. She was on the news tonight about the kids that got flooded at the camp. She was also there at the Sandy Hook and the families against Alex Jones. She's going to be doing our case. I'm going to ask her to be on TV too. You guys are all going to be called up there. You understand? We're going to be on TV, folks. It's about 25 different things. There's about 80 attorneys. Every one of these lying developers that have been ripping us off for years, under you guys letting him, including Scott Dunlap letting him, including Mike Burrell letting him, and including Mr. Moore letting him. Did I say Scott Dunlap? Does anyone in this room think that Mike Burrell is supervising Scott Dunlap? Where's the Ethics Commission? Mr. Moore is supposed to be the head of the Ethics Commission. When I file a complaint, it says that the city manager shall convene the Ethics Commission. Do you understand what the word shall means, Mr. Mayor? I know you don't have to answer because your silence of 3 or 4 years is the best answer you could ever give. Manor has no ethics. We don't care about an ethics commission. Why would we need one? We got the police putting the police reports in the trash. We got the city attorneys never bringing a case to docket before the city court of no record. It's a municipal court of no record, and you actually gave them an award. I'm trying to end that statewide. You had a chance to jump on board and do something fantastic for our state, but you didn't know how. How would we get rid of the courts of no record? I just don't know. The problem is you really don't know. You can't even fix the sidewalk across the street. Manor Heights has stolen over $700,000 from us, and Scott Dunlap's letting him, Scott Moore is letting him, and Scott Burrell is letting him. Does anyone not understand what Manor? I'm sorry, this is on the agenda item. I'll talk about this at the public hearing. Anyway, we're going to have lots of court action coming up. I filed about 8 motions just in the last few days. They have been accepted by the court. The city has been notified, so the attorneys know. You guys might need to get your own attorney because sometimes they lump defendants together and they put a sacrificial lamb.
Thank you. All right, next we have up Ms. Callahan, and you filled out the yellow form, but it's actually for the should be on the white form for item number 13. Yeah. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Come on up. So you have 3 minutes.
Imagine a company that collected every person's photos if they could find and put them in a never-ending police lineup. A company that went out of its way to have a non-existent address on their website, had their founder use a fake name on LinkedIn, and when the police ran a journalist's picture in that company's facial recognition software, the company called the police to ask if they had been talking to the media. The company had been tracking and surveilling the police. This is not an imaginary company. This is Clearview AI. When this was reported in 2020, tech giants like Google and Facebook sent the company a cease and desist from using their photos. The company refused. A 2022 court ruling prohibited the sale of the company's facial recognition database to private individuals and businesses in the US. But Clearview AI keeps selling it to the police. Just last month, in March, it was reported that Clearview AI had led to an innocent 50-year-old woman in Tennessee being arrested and jailed for almost 5 months for a crime she didn't commit in a state she had never even been to. It was only after her lawyer was able to find video evidence of her shopping at the exact same time that this crime was committed was she finally let out of jail. This woman could have been any of us. We don't know what Clearview AI bases their program off of, what they're using the algorithm for. They refused multiple times in court to present what they use, what any of their program is used for, what they get their basis off of, what biases are in their program. So no one knows what's truly going on, not even the police who would be using it. So I implore you to not use Clearview AI. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, council members, we're going to move to our events and announcements. Ms. Stephanie. Manor-Palooza, May 1st through 2nd, 2026 at 15317 U.S. Highway 290 East. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Maynard Palooza will take place Friday, May 1st from 6 to 10 p.m. at our East Maynard Development Number 1 property. We will open our gates at 5:45. Both days for our event is free. And we will have our local bands 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. And then Saturday we will be open from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. We will have our sausage eating contest taking place at 5 p.m. with our opener Ram Herrera playing at 6:30, and then Kevin Fowler at 8:30 following our fireworks show, as well as kids activities, teen activities, and then we'll also have our food and market. And then we just want to say thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you.
Thank you. Wait. Any questions, council members?
So sorry.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there an opportunity for volunteers?
Absolutely. And I am in touch with one of the volunteers right now. And so I will be sending her an email shortly.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
They just need to email if
Yes,
folks-
they can just send them to my email, and then I will be able to start an Excel sheet to
Okay.
start volunteer.
Other questions, council members? None? All right. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Moving on, council, we're going to proclamations. We have a proclamation declaring Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026 as Earth Day. And do we have anyone here for it? Oh, no. We do? Okay. All right. Proclamation. Whereas Earth Day observed annually on April 22nd calls upon individuals, communities, businesses, and governments to protect natural resources, reduce waste, and promote sustainable practices for the benefit of current and future generations. And whereas the responsible disposal of recycling of paper and electronic materials reduce landfill waste, conserve resources, protects water and air quality, helps prevent hazardous materials from entering the environment. And whereas the city of Maynard is committed to fostering a clean, healthy, and sustainable community through education, convenient disposal opportunities, and public engagement in environmental stewardship. And whereas providing free, accessible collection events, encouraging residents to securely dispose of sensitive documents and responsibly recycle electronic waste in a safe manner. Now, therefore, Dr. Christopher Harvey, Mayor of the City of Maynard, Texas, on behalf of the Maynard City Council, do hereby proclaim April 22nd, 2026 as Earth Day in the City of Maynard, and do urge all citizens, community groups, business, and schools to observe this day by committing to actions that reduce waste, conserve resources, and protect our environment. Further, I invite and encourage all residents of Maynard to participate in the city's free community shred day and electronic recycling event, Shred for a Cause, on Saturday, April 25, 2026, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Maynard City Hall. Shred for a Cause promotes environmental stewardship while supporting local needs by accepting pet food donations for the Maynard Police Department Animal Control Division. Please bring paper documents for secure shredding and electronic acceptable items for proper recycling. Pet food donations are appreciated but not required to participate. Let us work together to keep our community safe, sustainable, and compassionate. In witness hereof, I have hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Maynard to be affixed this 15th day of April 2026. Dr. Christopher Harvey, Mayor, City of Maynard. And we'll come up and take a photo. All right.
We'll squeeze on this
Yeah,
other
we'll
non-tall
squeeze
side.
Yeah.
All right, council, we have a series of public hearings. We're going to start off with number one, conduct a public hearing on a specific use permit for 15,000 square feet of professional office, medical office, and medical clinic. One lot on 3.11 acres, more or less, being located at 13801 North FM 973, Maynard, Texas. Is it you? Yeah, come on up, Mr. Don.
Evening, Mayor and Council. This item, I can go into it, but also last P&Z meeting, there was no quorum, so they didn't take it up. So we'd actually be asking you to postpone this or open the public hearing and keep it open to your May 20th meeting. So Planning Commission can consider it and bring your recommendation.
Okay. Need that motion. What's the date?
May 20th,
May
the
20th.
second meeting in May.
Mayor, Council, we'd like to make a motion that the City Council leave the public hearing open until May 20th, 2026 regular council meeting.
Have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Weir. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Mesquite. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed, motion passes 6-0. Number two, conduct a public hearing on a subdivision concept plan for Kimbrough Crossing, being 17 lots on 52.69 acres more or less, and being TCAD parcel 236951, also known as 14018 East US 290 Highway, Maynard, Texas. Mr. Robert. And you have 2 minutes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Once again, I would note to the attorneys and applicants, Timmerman's last name has 2 N's. It's Timmerman with 2 N's. This cracks me up. Their own attorneys don't know how to spell their name, or the applicants. Now, I have a question also that applies to this last one. I'm only learning about something now called the shot clock. This is something our city staff knows exactly about, but they've managed to keep it hidden from me for like 6 years. Can you believe that? It's hard to believe. I learned about it because the last Planning and Zoning Commission meeting didn't even get gavelled down. It didn't even happen. So by that never happening, just like by you postponing this meeting, does that mean that these developers have now going to eliminate almost all of that shot clock by simply your inaction? That would be my question. That's something we really need to understand here as citizens. Speaking of which, this is a 52.69 acre development. This is about 17 acres of it, I think. The whole development is over 10 acres, as is this portion. Therefore, it's required in our codes that they have a plaza. Now, I'm still trying to teach you people what a plaza is. You think a plaza is a shopping center because you have no idea. There's beautiful cities in Europe called Rome and Paris. There's also every little village in Mexico. They have a plaza. That's where the fountains are. That's where the statues are. That's where people come out and they talk to one another like, dare I say it, a community. When are you going to start holding up your end to do something for the community? We have about 6 shopping centers now that every single one owes us a plaza. How many of you held up to their feet to the fire? 0.
Thank you. Mr. Dunlap.
So this is a preliminary public hearing on the concept plan for Kimbrough Crossing. It's over there at Old Kimbrough and 290. So it's 17 lots. There's 14 commercial lots. There's 1 residential lot that you'll be getting a zoning case on in the future. It is currently zoned commercial, but there's intention and consistent with the comprehensive plan for residential in the back. This is where Hobby Lobby and Academy are proposed to go. There was a development agreement, 380 agreement for this. There was not a quorum at the last Planning Commission meeting, so they did not have the public hearing or take action on it. But per the city's code, in order to meet the states requirements for action to be taken on plats and plans. Our code allows, when there's lack of a quorum, for items that are recommended to be approved by staff to be approved, and items to be denied. So that is the actions that the Planning Commission took. And so this item was recommended for approval at the last Planning Commission. So under our code, it comes to you as approved by the Planning, recommended for approval by the Planning Commission. Then when you get to the action item on it, it has met city requirements, so we are recommending approval.
Thank you, sir. Questions?
Question: have you received any comments or anything from anyone that's in the area that you had to reach out to?
No,
Okay.
none that I've been aware of.
Scott, can you speak a little bit to the deceleration lane? That's about the length and the requirements and everything for that.
So that's what they're working with TxDOT. So most of the improvements are on 290. There's a right turn lane that's proposed for Kimbrough that TxDOT recommended. As part of the development agreement, a full traffic impact analysis was waived as long as they provide certain mitigations, and those were worked with TxDOT. So that's what you see in your backup there, those required mitigations in lieu of a full TIA. And so TxDOT, knowing their facility and the traffic that this type of development could generate, they said, hey, you need a decel lane of, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, 450 feet, 600 feet, whatever it may be, per their standards.
And the driveway, the talk about the driveway that would need to be shifted, is that going to be an issue? I read somewhere in there that the driveway would need to be shifted to the west to accommodate that full deceleration lane.
That's, they probably worked with TxDOT to say, here's our proposed plan, and TxDOT said to shift one of their driveways, and the applicant is here. You can talk to them too if that was, part of this particular plan. They do show certain private improvements on this concept plan, when really the concept plan for what the portions the city reviews are future public infrastructure, your lots, your phasing, the amount of utility demand. So this concept plan showing building layouts, parking, drives, that actually comes later in the process. So
Did you want to ask your question to them? Or you good? Okay. Yeah. Come on.
sure. This is Drew.
Just introduce yourself, and then you want to ask the question again.
Hello, I'm Drew Guthrie. I'm with Barron Stark Engineers. We're the civil engineering firm representing this development. To answer your question, the deceleration length on 290 is 750 feet for both turning onto Old Kimbrough and turning into the development. If you flip to the previous screen, you can see where that driveway was shifted to the west just to account for that 750 feet required by TxDOT.
Thank you. That answers my question.
Thank you.
Any other questions, council members? All right, thank you. I'll take a motion or another question.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we let the City Council conduct a public hearing on a subdivision concept plan for Kimbrough Crossing, being 17 lots on 52.69 acres, more or less, and being TACD CAD parcel 236951, also known as 14018 East US 290 Highway.
Are you making,
Make a motion that we close the public hearing.
we have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Ware to close public hearing. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Hill. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Number 3, conduct a public hearing on a special use permit for 5,725 square feet of medical office on one lot on 6.76 acres, more or less, and being Los Entradas North, also known as 12420 Tillgane Pass, Maynard, Texas. Mr. Robert, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name's Robert Battle. This is part of Las Entradas, which is a development owned by, Mr. Dwyer and some of his, it's an LLC, I think, or an incorporation or something or other. But it also has the property that the homestead is on, the little shacks. That's our James Manor homestead, also our Alamo. There's other parts of tonight's stuff where it seemed like you were talking about eminent domain. We need to eminent domain the homestead. But now part of that Las Entradas as it goes north, for one thing, for some unknown reason, it's part of a TERS. You guys put it into your TERS number 2. TERS is for blighted things. You're the TERS committee, the board, and you report to yourselves. That's a no-no too. But here we are again. I asked Pete Dwyer when I first learned about plazas. I was at a Chamber of Commerce meeting. I said, look at this, Pete. 10-acre commercial has to have a plaza. He looked at me and he said, what's a plaza? I'm not kidding. Now, I like Pete. I give him a lot of hard times and stuff, but he's done a lot of good things for our community, but he's also kind of missing the boat on a few. And unfortunately, where's the plaza, Pete? All these rich people are such cheap tightwads. It's really hard to imagine. In fact, did you know that I'm the largest parks donor of anyone in town? I've given more money than all 30,000 Maynard people, and it's under $1,500. That's what a cheap town we have. So can we get a plaza on this development, please? Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Are you asking us to leave this one open?
Yes, sir. The same as number 1 to the May 20th meeting, please.
Okay.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we leave the public hearing open until the May 20th, 2026 regular council meeting.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Moreno. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Mesquite. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, sir. Moving right along. You can have a seat.
Okay.
Yeah. Conduct a public hearing on levying of assessments for improvement area number 5 in the Maynard Heights Public Improvement District. Mr. Robert, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name's Robert Battle. Now, this is interesting. We have these PIDs, and we have a public improvement district, too, that kind of helps regulate these things. It's mostly citizens, but for some reason, we've had a developer who's been a fixture on there for 130 years. His name is Barth Timmerman. So one thing, when we talk about people on that committee, we do not need him on there anymore. It's a complete and absolute conflict of interest. We've given him millions of dollars of Chapter 80 grants. We've bought lots of property from him for millions of dollars too. We don't need him sitting on that committee. Now, the other thing about Maynard Heights is basically they owe us about $700,000 of in lieu park fees because somebody told them that a water retention pond of 15 acres was parkland. One word, parkland. The city attorneys have told us that that's not true. And the city attorneys have told us that floodplain is not parkland, and they've told us that open space is not parkland. So the bottom line is they owe us over $700,000, and maybe to help that developer builder out, we need to raise this assessment so we can cover his tail end. I don't want the city of Maynard to have to eat his costs. That's what's happening right now. They put in a little swimming pool. They have not 1 square foot of public space anywhere in their development, anywhere. I'm talking about over 15 years. That's how long they've been ripping us off. It didn't start with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on, sir. O'Malley.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Veronica Rivera, Assistant City Attorney. This is the public hearing that you called by resolution to at your last meeting. It is to levy the assessments on improvement area number 5. This is the last improvement area and in Manor Heights, in the Manor Heights PID. And it is tied to agenda item number 20 that will come up later on the agenda for you to discuss and approve the levying of assessments. So previously, you had approved the preliminary service and assessment plan, and now you will be looking at the final service and assessment plan, which also will serve as the annual service and assessment plan as well. And there is someone from P3 to discuss this further. And if you have any questions now, or if you'd like to wait for item number 20, we'll be available as well.
Do you have any questions now, or do you all want to wait till 20? Later? All right, well, we'll wait till later. Item 20. Do we have any, you have a motion on the floor for the public hearing?
Mayor and Council, I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing for item number 4.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Moreno. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Weir. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. All those following on the items on the consent agenda considered to be self-explanatory by council and will be enacted one motion. There will be no separate discussion on items unless requested by mayor or council member, in which the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Council members, is there anything that you want to pull out or highlight in the report? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as read.
We have a motion to approve consent agenda. Oh, I need to read it right. Yeah. Number 5, consideration, discussion, possible action on approval of city council minutes. 6, consideration, discussion, possible action on regarding acceptance of the March 2026 city council monthly report. 7, consideration, discussion, and possible action regarding acceptance of second quarter 2026 city council committee reports. 8, consideration, discussion, and possible action regarding acceptance of the March 2026 department reports. 9, consideration, discussion, and possible action on acceptance of conveyance of a 0.983 acre drainage easement for, being a portion of Lot 1A, the replat of Lot 1 re-out of Fort Manor. And number 10, consideration, discussion, possible action on a 2.359 acre tract of land easement in the Summer Bacon Survey 62, abstract number 63 in Travis County, Texas. Consideration, discussion, possible action on an easement and encroachment agreement with Manville Water Supply Corporation. We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Mesqua. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilman Moreno. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Number 12, consideration, discussion, and possible action regarding the resolution of the City Council of City of Manor, Texas, supporting the continued participation of Manor Police in the Texas Traffic Safety Comprehensive Selective Traffic Enforcement Program. Is a CIOT, click it or ticket, grant for the fiscal year 2026, authorizes the city manager to execute all necessary documentation and designating the city manager as authorized official for all matters pertaining to the grant, including more fiscal years and establishing an effective date. Yes, sir.
Mayor and Council, Ryan Phipps, Chief of Police. This is our annual STEP grant, and I have Sergeant Vega coming forward to discuss because he oversees our traffic unit as well as the grant writer between the department and TxDOT.
All right. The award-winning Sergeant Vega.
Good evening. So today we are, I'm here to on the agenda for the Click It or Ticket grant, seeking approval for it. The enforcement period is between May 15th and June 3rd of 2026. This grant is requesting $2,460. That's reimbursed back to the city, back into the general fund.
Questions, council members?
I have a question. As far as our numbers for last year and what was, I guess, produced from these type of events, what can you guys tell me about that?
As y'all have previously requested, in our monthly report, we do, when there is activity, report the activity that the officers use the grant and the outcome of tickets or arrest on DWI or whatever it is that qualifies for the grant. I don't have a total for all of that, but we can produce that for y'all if that's something you're interested in seeing.
I'd be interested in knowing. Thank you.
Okay.
Other questions? Is this a state or federal funded? Is it
It's a state grant through TxDOT.
It's state grant, but does it have a federal pass through?
Yes, it's a federal pass-through to TxDOT, and then we make application to TxDOT.
And the federal pass through, are there any additional rules or requirements that might be associated with it by taking federal in the climate that we're in right now that might hold us to expectations?
Not that we're aware of. This is a pretty easy grant. Years ago, they made the process a little easier because they wanted departments to utilize it. Obviously, this is removing intoxicated drivers and people who are not wearing seatbelts and creating safety situations on our roadways. So they wanted the ease of application and the ease of use. But with the current client, I'm not aware of any changes that have been made, and those may go to TxDOT. Their requirements from their reporting in may change, but I don't think that there's anything different on our end. Are you aware of any?
No, there's nothing different. A lot of it is also just public education when officers are conducting the traffic stops.
Okay. So usually, do you have to report any data to NHTSA? Or does
Everything's reported to TxDOT, and
And they
from there,
send it up?
TxDOT reports it to NHTSA.
Okay. Okay. Well, if you don't mind, just double check that. Is it a matching requirement?
Matching
A matching requirement?
No.
No. Okay. And yeah, if you don't mind, just double checking it. Because sometimes some of the federal pass-throughs that are coming through are have additional requirements that are not necessarily mentioned in the grant, but there's another list somewhere else that says, hey, if your law enforcement are taking these series of federal grants, then you have to be able to respond and do certain things if you get called by the feds. So we just want to make sure that this is one that is clear, free and clear.
Yeah, we'll check on that. Generally, if there's any changes, they are pretty good about letting us know, but I don't think that I've seen any changes from previous year applications. So.
We haven't had any issues so far.
Yeah.
So far.
Well, yeah, this is a new thing, so
Yeah.
just double check it under the new kind of lay of land in the last several months, just so we can be aware of the decisions we're making. Any other questions, team?
I have a question. It sounds redundant, but can you re-explain what the Click Air Ticket grant is, as if I wasn't a person that knows about law stuff, but all I know is that if you don't click it, you get a ticket. But just for everyone to know, but me too.
Go ahead on that.
Sure. The Click It or Ticket is just a mobilization grant. It's directly focused on overall traffic enforcement, but the primary focus is seatbelt safety, whether it be driver, passenger, or child safety. Like I said, most of the goal is all traffic enforcement and public education while conducting that traffic stop. So it's not a grant that officers have to give tickets. That's not the goal. The goal is public education and ensuring that everyone's safe on the public roadway.
Okay, so the education only comes if you get stopped.
Yes.
But does that guarantee a ticket?
No.
Okay. Are there other areas where, like, is it just in that window, or is that just the window of the grant application?
That's only the window for this grant application
Oh,
for
okay,
the clicker
but
ticket.
it
So
goes all year.
no. This is only for this grant is only for a 2-week period.
Oh, okay. Oh, hmm. So for 2 weeks, you will enforce the education of click it or ticket.
Well,
Am I missing it?
So what the grant provides us is to pay officers who are not on staff to come in on their time off to work overtime. Then we submit the hours of the officers that came in and worked to TxDOT, and they reimburse us for the cost that the city had accrued to pay those officers. So they're paying for officers to be on the street to be addressing these specific issues
For a 2-week period.
for a 2-week period.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does it match our current, I guess, is that time and a half, or is that just regular time pay?
I believe it's paid at time and a half. That's how it's
So,
yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
So we can meet that amount, or will we pay more on our side than what they would actually reimburse?
No, whatever we pay, they will reimburse us for that cost.
Okay.
How do they sign up?
No, officers haven't signed up yet because I'm still getting approval through TxDOT. It's still in the application process, but I wanted to come before and get the ball rolling with it before I move forward with it.
Cool. Thank you.
Can you define, I guess, the expectation that you want for the city manager in the terms of including future fiscal years? Kind of what the intent behind that is.
One more time. I'm sorry.
Oh, it says designating the city manager as authorized official for all matters pertaining to the grant, including the future fiscal years.
I don't know if we've done it that way before. And do you know?
We haven't. I got it from James.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if we've ever done that before, but I think that there's some communities that do it where they just permit ongoing application for these grants through TxDOT. So we could have gotten that language from another community or from TxDOT directly.
Okay. Are you opposed to a shorter period of time, or just having a designated time period so that it comes back less often than annual?
We're not opposed to anything that however y'all want it to work. It doesn't make a difference to us if we come back every time. It makes it easier in just our process if he has the authority from you guys to bless it, but it doesn't. It's no difference to us.
Yeah. Just so that if, for whatever reason, a new council comes, and they're like, I'm completely against click it or ticket, you know,
Right.
they have the opportunity to have it come before them at another time period versus, you know, the blanket, you know, forever check.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Questions?
Okay. No, I think with everything that we have, 290, 973, any programs that TxDOT can roll out to cities, and in this case, Manor, we can be in a position to take advantage of some of those programs. So I think over the next several years, as the mayor's indicating, we should be able to come back and be able to present if there's a new program that TxDOT rolls out that we want to get blessing from council, so it doesn't appear we're doing things contrary to being safe or being some expenditure that we have to expend to implement a program that TxDOT want. And I think us and other parts of the region that are having a lot of high growth and construction may lead to other programs that they want to see to give back and have us be actively involved in addressing some of those public safety issues with the money that we'd have to spend to make sure we can get reimbursed for those activities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Councilwoman Hill?
You may have already answered this question or asking just about reporting. Is there a way that we would be aware of the reporting, I guess, through that time? Like maybe either the 2 weeks before or the 2 weeks after compared to that 2 weeks that you do have the extra officers?
Well, we do submit a report in the monthly report through the department to y'all on the amount that was requested back from TxDOT and the number of citations citations or warnings and or DWI arrests, depending on the program that we're looking at. Are you asking for something on top of that?
Well, I guess if it was, I didn't see, unless it was on here and I just haven't, I looked back again, but where, if it was specific for not having your seatbelt and not,
Okay.
I mean, I
yes.
guess other offenses could come after that, but just
Yeah.
that specific.
So, yes, we can report that, but, something up front, there are other violations that come from traffic stops. So if the officer working click it or ticket stops an individual for not wearing their seatbelt, and when they get up there, they see their registration sticker is expired, or they don't have insurance, or they don't have a driver's license, that stop could result in more citations than just the purpose of the stop. So, do you want to see everything resulting from those stops, or do you want to just see how many tickets and warnings or DWIs that resulted from the grant?
Are you already merging them, or are you during the grant period, you're doing your monthly report? Are you already merging the click it or ticket data from those 2 weeks into into your normal monthly report, or are you doing them separate?
So the numbers that are reported for traffic stops each month, those tickets would be included in that number.
Okay.
However, we do the separate click it or ticket report, or the grant report, and I believe that is worded as how many stops were conducted, not what the result of those traffic stops were. So how many traffic stops were resulted, how many hours were worked by the officers, which resulted in what was the reimbursement from TxDOT.
So the TxDOT, what he's saying is the TxDOT report requires less than what he's already given us in the monthly report. And then you're asking, would we like to see a disaggregation during that 2 week period in that month of the 2 week period that says that, hey, these additional officers that were on, that came on at the time and a half, this is what they collected all together.
Correct.
Or
yeah, we can break down the data however y'all would like to see it. We were trying to just give the broad overview of the effect of the grant, right? So how many stops, what qualified us, and what did we report to TxDOT?
Which one? What is that? Does that help for your clarity for your ask or your request?
It does. You're telling me the data is there. We just have to ask for it when it comes up. I'm okay with that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Other questions?
Will you guys be pushing out like any marketing, like, we're going to do click it or ticket?
Yeah, so part of the grant is that we do have to do a pre media post, letting the public know that we are going to be starting the grant and having the enforcement zones, which the enforcement zones are going to be, I believe it's Parsons all the way to 973, north to 973 to 290, 290 back west towards, I believe it's Greg Maynor, and the Greg Maynor back south. That's enforcement zone 1. Enforcement zone 2 is going to be north city limits of 973 back to 290, and then 290 back east all the way to, I think it's Volker Lane, Volker Street.
That's the whole city. No,
That's right. Well, the data is usually it's come from all the crash zones.
Yeah.
So TxDOT kind of helps generate where our zones should be at, or high collision areas.
Yeah. Other questions? If there are none, I will take a motion. Oh, and if you're, so in the language, you can read as regular or assign a shorter period or longer period on the, where it states the communication about the years. Let me go back to it.
And the city secretary has just informed me that the language as it is how it was presented last year as well. And we still came forward.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, council members, Veronica Rivera, Assistant City Attorney. If you would like to make a motion to just limit it to 2026, that would be your motion. And we would just revise the resolution because their resolution is in your backup already. So City Legal would be revising the resolution, basically just deleting, including future fiscal years, if you so choose.
So that second, oh no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the sixth paragraph, where it states 2026 and future fiscal years, it can either we're saying 2026 only, or if we would like to grant additional years, then we could say up to such and such year.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
If you wanted to not just limit it to 2026, but up to however many years, then you could also do that. We would make that correction not only in the body of the resolution, but also in the preamble, the caption at the top.
Okay. Everybody good? Understand? All right. Take a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that the council approve resolution number 2026-08 of the City Council of the City of Maynard, Texas, supporting the continued participation of the Maynard Police Department in the Texas Traffic Safety Comprehensive STEP Selective Traffic Enforcement Program. Click It or Ticket Grant for the fiscal year 2026, authorizing the city manager to execute all necessary documentation and designating the city manager as the authorized official for all matters pertaining to the grant, including future fiscal years, and establishing an effective date.
As written, or 1 year, separate less years?
1 year.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Weir. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Hill. Any questions to the motions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
The reading on the action item was 08 and the resolution number says 07, so just
That correction on the item 12, page 165, 164, 165.
the following page does have it as 08. It's just that first page has 07.
Yeah, it's at the very top. It's a Is it up? Oh wait, well you said you read 08, so we're good. You read 08, okay. All right, any other questions to the motion? Everyone good with the 1 year? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Just for clarification, is it 2020? It's 26, 27. It's
For
the
the
fiscal
grant?
year.
Yeah, I think we're saying just one fiscal year.
Correct.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah, yeah. Current fiscal year. Okay. Correct, Councilwoman Weir? All right. Yes. All right. Any other questions or clarification? Everyone good? All right, we have a motion on the floor and proper second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Consideration, discussion, and possible, I'm sorry, when will y'all find out about it?
When do we get the answer, Sergeant Vega? When do we get the answer on the grant?
I can email with the representative tomorrow and get more information.
Okay.
He usually he's pretty quick about it, but hopefully soon.
Okay, but it's like is there a deadline or anything like that, or is it one of those that rolls?
Usually, whenever they're ready to roll it out, they'll roll it out. Like when we did the IDM grant, it was rolled out like 2 weeks prior. So we're probably right in that threshold.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Consideration, discussion, possible action regarding an agreement for additional service. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on 13. Is that right? Yeah. For consideration, discussion, possible action on a professional service agreement for Clearview AI Inc., an investigative platform that uses facial recognition technology. Yes, ma'am. Oh, yes, sir.
Lieutenant Allen was listed on y'all's summary. He's unable to make it tonight, so Sergeant Eaton, who oversees our criminal investigations division, is here to provide more information on this.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Clearview AI is an already budgeted for investigative tool that would assist our agency in solving crime and keeping our community safe. It is a search engine that searches images compiled from publicly available online sources. In reference to the comments that were made earlier, it is not probable cause to make an arrest. It's simply an investigative tool that leads us to further investigations. I know it was referenced that they had worked with Google and private companies before. They no longer do that. They exclusively work with vetted law enforcement and government agencies only. And I'm unaware of any lawsuits with the public or with the private company, so I wouldn't be able to speak to that, unfortunately.
Is this a U.S. based company or European based company?
It's US based.
Okay. I think maybe the issue was I guess it was the state of Illinois in 2020 is when it was filed. Questions, council members?
Sergeant Eaton, hi.
Hi.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how we arrived as Manor, compared to all of our surrounding cities? Of course, a lot of people come through here, and that's, in my version, that's my reason to say we've arrived at this point where we need this technology in our city. But can you give more insight of why this came up and now?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. So I can speak to my personal experience in criminal investigations. So the reason I even learned about this technology was I was our child abuse detective before I got promoted, and I was working these undercover operations where I was finding these child predators online. Oftentimes they would send me their faces, and I did not have them identified, and it would be extremely difficult to get them identified prior to meeting them. With this kind of technology, you can upload them again to this search engine, and these are all public images where you guys would be able to find them as well. It just consolidates these public images, so it makes it more efficient for law enforcement. So I would be able to upload a suspect photograph, or if I had an unidentified child victim, to this search engine, and it would efficiently be able to provide links to maybe his social media or maybe a previous mugshot or things like that, his or her. And I would be able to have investigative leads that way. So that's just one example. Same thing if we have surveillance footage of someone stealing something at Walmart or things like that. It's just something that can more efficiently provide investigative leads for us over in criminal investigations. Yes, ma'am.
What agencies do they share the data with?
So the images that we were to upload.
Say again?
I'm sorry, could you clarify your question?
What agencies, I guess, have access to this data?
So it's only law enforcement and government that have been vetted by them. I don't know who specifically has purchased this software. I do know locally it's Pflugerville. I know the Texas Department of Public Safety uses it. I'm sorry?
He didn't say anything.
Okay. But that's as far as I know locally.
Yeah.
In Texas law, can facial recognition be used as the sole thing to, on the sole basis to arrest someone? I know there's some states where it's not allowed to be used as the sole reason for arrest.
No, ma'am. So we wouldn't. So probable cause is a complicated monster, right? Which is our standard for an arrest here in Texas. We call it the totality of the circumstances. So I know for our department that would not be our standard. If we were to have a match on this technology, it would simply be something for us to follow up on. So say it matched on their social media, it would be something where we would be able to follow up with their driver's license photo, and we would be able to contact them potentially for an interview and things like that, where we would be able to gather more information to form probable cause. But it would not be something where we would just be able to make that arrest based off of facial recognition match alone.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Question. What safeguards are in place for wrongful identification or misuse?
Sure. So there is, they mandate training. We also have policy that is going to be put in place prior to this being put out in our department as well. There's also peer review that we can mandate. So if I think that this person is a match with facial recognition, I can send it off to, or we can force it to be sent off to a peer to be reviewed as well. And again, it's not the standard for probable cause either. So it's just a tool, right? It's something for us to look at and lead us in maybe the correct direction and see if it leads us to where we need to be.
Other questions, concerns?
Could this ever go to court to be used as like for violating privacy laws for any reason?
So no, ma'am, not currently. It's not a real-time surveillance system, so we don't have cameras out there, watching you and uploading your face or anything like that. It's all open source. So it's everything that is already out there on the internet and publicly available. Even if say your Instagram account is private, they can't access it. So those photos won't be on this search engine as well.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I have another question. As far as the payments that are scheduled, is it divided as an increase for a reason? Is there like more expenditures that are happening afterwards, or why is the reasoning for the difference?
I believe that it's prorated. We're coming in pretty late in the year, and so I don't know what the step up is on that, but for this budget year, you see it's substantially lower than following years. I believe that it's prorated for us coming in late, if I'm incorrect.
Correct. Denver Collins, Assistant Chief of Police. Chief is correct. The reason the first year it is prorated, and then the next 2 years should be pretty much equal. It should be in the.
There's a $5,000 difference, so
Sorry.
it's a $5,000 difference between year 2 and year 3. So I was just asking.
It is because it's prorated.
Do we have anybody here from Clearview?
No, sir. Unfortunately, they had something in Houston and were unable to make it today.
Okay. my more specific question, I was waiting for them to finish theirs, is just into the federal agency connection, and sharing specifically which agencies and how they get access to the data. You know, if we collect images and put it in our system or other systems, or whatever, how did that connect to certain federal agencies? And so that's really I have a specific question towards that. Is there what's the timeline or the quote on this contract before it expires?
I believe that it's annually that we can choose not to extend the contract.
No, I mean, like, usually you got to get a quote, and the quote is good for this many 30 days, 60 days, or something like that before you have to get another quote and the price changes.
Do you have any insight on that? I believe that it's the 3 years that are quoted on the summary form.
So if we waited to May for Clearview to be here to answer some questions, then the $30,000 wouldn't change.
I don't believe so. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your question, this was unlike other platforms. This is not a data sharing, like Sergeant Eaton stated.
Mm-hmm.
We only upload a picture, like if we have a suspect's picture from the child predator case, she uploads it and it matches it to social media, or if this person's been on the news or in the papers or whatnot. That's where the information comes from. It's not, we don't get a group of photos and just blast it out for
No,
their
I
for the
understand that.
database.
I understand that part. I guess you get a photo of a suspect and you run it to check. When you put the photo of the suspect in the system and it's not a person we're looking for, does it come back out or does it stay forever in the system? And if it's forever in the system, is it now shared with the entire federal agency? Because if we're not looking for so-and-so and we put them in the system, they're now in the database for all federal agencies to run checks on them for anything else. And what I'm really skating around is the whole immigration piece. And
Right.
so we check this individual and there's not a issue. Now they're in the database and now an immigration entity says, oh, hey, look, let's check that person. Oh, you know what? Let's go down in Manor and pick them up. So that's the question I want to be able to get asked because there's, you're right. There's so much stuff on the internet that can lead people different kind of ways. And so to be able to, my questions will be directly to them, and then to be able to look at the contract language for assurance that the work we need to do for solving issues here won't lead to, causing harm to folks who are just suspects.
Sure. From my understanding is when you upload a photograph, it could stay in a database. That way, if the FBI JTTF, is looking for a terrorist and we have entered it in a prior search, we want them to see that we had some entry into that, right? But when we make an entry, we're not entering people with their immigration status.
Yeah.
We're not putting somebody in saying anything other than here's this picture, we need to find who this individual is. So I would think, and I could be wrong, that the photos do stay as something that is entered for other law enforcement agencies who are using this software to say, oh, well, Manor has also submitted a photo that matches our person, and so let's find out what where Manor got that photo or what they're looking at into that individual.
Yeah, and I understand that it can be if someone's committed a crime somewhere far away that's heinous, or whatever, right? And they've been looking for them, they pop up here. There's a benefit for that. I just think for us as also elected officials or community that's wants to be able to be safe going to work into the store, it would be good if we could actually have them here to ask some of those questions. Sure. And then kind of go from there.
Okay.
That's me. I only one vote. But that's me. That would be my interest, just to be able to dispel any kind of wonders out there, because community members, the decision tonight for community members will be about the what ifs,
right? And
they will only have access to the algorithm that their phone provides for searches and information, or whatever Google is preferencing that night.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we don't want folks to think we made a decision that looks harmful. So it would be better if they could be here.
I agree 100%, because there is a lot of misinformation, especially as technology takes over. People are concerned about Big Brother, or we're tracking the mayor when he goes to Casa Garcia. At the end of the day, law enforcement in Texas, and in Manor, we're using tools to solve violent and heinous crimes.
We know that.
Yeah.
But when we bring in the third party, and I think it's good on our end to be able to ask them those questions.
Absolutely.
So that there can be certainty from the community that, hey, we know how Manor Police operates. They can look through the reports and see that you all are people friendly, people first. But how do we, a good way to ensure that that's extended to our third party supporters, whether it be other law enforcement agencies or its software systems, is for them to be present, to say, this is what typically happens. This is what could happen. And this is the kind of what we've seen, how it happens in Texas or so on. So just to be able to answer those questions, so council members know the risk going either way.
Sure, absolutely.
So, other questions and comments?
I just want to add, I agree. I have other, specific technology questions, and also, questions that would kind of dispel some of the reviews that they've had in the past, and because understanding the difference where the mayor was saying Manor's a little different, but compared to some of the other places that are out there, and so just kind of keeping our good reputation.
Sure.
I would love to have them come talk to us.
We will schedule that.
Well, we need a motion first,
for sure,
to give us that direction. So, any other questions or a motion? Yeah, some more questions. If not, I'll take a motion. The motion could be to approve as is written, or the motion could be to postpone to the
second meeting in May.
Second meeting in May? May 20th. So that the vendor can be here.
I'd like to make a motion that City Council, I'd like to make the motion to postpone item number 13 until the May 20th City Council meeting, when the vendor can be present to answer questions.
Well, motion on the floor by Councilwoman Weir. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Hill. Any questions to the motion? No questions. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Oh, 5-1. One opposed. Yeah. Mayor Pro Tem Hill. Item number 14.
Thank you.
Flock safety agreement. Consideration, discussion, possible action regarding an agreement for additional services for flock safety. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Deborah Collins, Assistant Chief of Police. As you're aware, we've had some good success with our current flock system. What we're asking for and budgeted for is additional services to add on to our current flock stuff. As it currently stands, we need a license plate to get a vehicle, and with the two additional services that we're asking for, You can simply describe a car, whether it be a big Ford pickup truck, black in color with a big deer head sticker in the black in the back window, and it can search that. And the second one is the enhanced LPR package, which can not only identify a certain vehicle, it can identify other vehicles that were engaged in organized crime, such as human trafficking, drug smuggling, and whatnot. And it can identify when those cars have been at the same place or if they've been seen at criminal locations. If you have any further questions, I do have 2 representatives from Flock that can better explain it.
I would also like to point out on our decision to do the enhanced camera capabilities with human trafficking in mind. We receive significant intelligence about the movement of human trafficking through our community as we connect Austin, one large city, to an extremely large city of Houston. Area intelligence see a significant increase in human trafficking during large events in our neighboring city. So during CODA and during South by, all of those incidents, they're seeing that human trafficking victims are being brought into Austin during those events. And those individuals are being brought into Austin through somewhere. And it's most likely going to be our highway and the highway to the south of us that goes through Bastrop. So that was one of the decisions that led us to go after the enhanced package.
Questions, council members? Or did you all have a canned presentation or no?
No presentation, just questions.
Okay.
Hello, council, mayor. Good to see you again, secretary, constituents of Maynard. My name is Ian Leslie. I'm the regional public affairs manager for Flock. Tried to get as close of a suit to you guys' Mustang red as I could. Go Mustangs. But no, here to answer any questions. There's been a lot of dialogue, this morning around technology, how fast it's moving, a lot of misinformation out there. And so I want to start with Flock takes transparency and accountability at the utmost. And we believe that community values does not have to be disseminated by public safety or community safety, right? And so with that, I'll open it up to any questions.
On the contract amount, Chief, or yourself, you have a discount, but I don't see original cost versus what's been requested as a discount.
Looks like the platform and add-ons are the total cost of discounts. Is that what we're seeing?
It said 51. I just didn't see where it was 33. Then it went down to 28.
I'm Kevin Cutler. I'm with Flock Safety, and just wanted to talk about the discount that you asked about. And because you guys are going with more than one software upgrades, there is a discount available as well.
So I guess what he's asking is, it says that the cost says $28,900. It says discounts, and then it says contract total, and it still says $28,900.
So it was discounted $5,000. It was $33,000, and before then.
Before the $28,990.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think we were all probably just looking for it in the top part, where it had that would have been, I guess, 33 something, and then seeing the 5,100 coming out. Well, okay, but that's what I figured it was.
Yeah, that was our fault. It should say the full cost amount with the discount totaling the $28,900. So that's our misprint.
Can you talk about the safeguards from other agencies or the systems in place in regards to how the system works for searching and those kinds of things?
Absolutely, absolutely. So first and foremost, there's guardrails implemented as the technology is being developed. Guardrails such as certain search filters are audited, and then guardrails of even what you can type in. So for instance, is it human trafficking? Is it drug trafficking? Whatever per your policy, say immigration came up, right? If that was something that was explicitly a no-go in your policy, that is not even able to be searched in the search filter. Again, that's more so policy. So the big thing here, as the technology is being developed, we believe that communities should have an input on their policy. Manor is not the same as San Marcos, as Austin, as any other surrounding cities, right? And so we give your agency full control over that. Also, as well, as far as authorization or access, only certain limited capacity of access within your agency, again, going back to policy, can be administered. So it's not everybody gets access and gets to do, whatever they want. That is tracked and audited. So say if you guys said 3 specific people only were required access based off their job description, that's what the policy would be. And then even after that, we've implemented MFA, multi-factor authentication, so that way it's kind of just a double whammy of safeguards and security as well. As far as and I'm just going to bring this up because it's come up in topics today. As far as facial recognition, Flock does not implement facial recognition in any capacity, nor does ALPRs collect any personal identifiable data. So what that means, race, gender, and things of that nature are not identified in the captured image of the Flock camera. As well as by default, all data is deleted after 30 days per your policy, but it's a standard across all agencies. I'll also touch on as well as far as data sharing. I know we talked about federal agencies, state agencies. Again, you guys have community control on who has access to your data and who shares that. If you guys do not want federal agencies to have access, they will not have federal access. If you do not want the city of Austin to have access, they will not have access per your policy. And then if you do decide to share your data with surrounding agencies, guess what? All of that is audited. So I can go in and see specifically who accessed it, at what time, and for what reason. Was it a drug trafficking case? Was it a human trafficking case? What was the purpose of that? And then again, that data is deleted after 30 days.
Is that data reportable to us?
Absolutely. So you guys, and we can work with your agency directly with our customer success manager. We make available to all agencies a transparency portal. That is a community-facing portal which clearly states your policy, how many cameras you have, how many hits, what it's been used for, how many cases of human trafficking, drug trafficking, whatever stops. All of that is articulated. Who you share with, the do's and don'ts of the technology. Again, all of that misinformation is out there, is kind of dispelled with your guys' transparency portal. And we've already had conversations with Deputy and Chief about implementing that for you guys.
Thank you. Has the Public Safety Committee, have y'all talked about, or can y'all bring this up in y'all's next meeting? Just to run through kind of the use of that information.
Yeah, before we try to always meet with the Public Safety Committee before we put anything on the agenda. So on our last meeting last month, I don't remember the exact date, but we did have both Clearview AI and Flock on that agenda to discuss.
Okay. Yeah, I mean more so about the potential of just to work out the details of the reporting and the transparency, those things to bring back to council.
Sure. What we would most likely do is just create a section within our monthly report that gives the data that y'all want to see.
Okay. That's my questions. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
In regards to tracking, making sure, hey, Maria goes to HEB 17 times in a week. Like the camera is right there next to. What do you like? Is that something that's looked at, or how does that information go? Like, am I being tracked?
Absolutely. And that's a great question. That's at the utmost recent conversations, right? And so we have, I think, as of 60 federal cases that unanimously support that Flock and LPR cameras do not violate your Fourth Amendment rights. And so that goes back to what I said about personal identifiable information. I can't tell if you're driving the car. I can't tell if your son's driving the car. None of that information is released, right? Also, I think as well, as of the date, don't quote me on this, I think March 17th, that was the most recent case that came in the favor of APR use in the 5th District, which Texas sits in. And so, again, very valid question in terms of, you know, the data being collected, where is it going in those court cases. Norfolk, Virginia, for specifically, an ALPR is set up at the ingress and egress of a city, right? So it's not spying on your private property and your windows, seeing Mayor go to the gym. You know, it's not at those points there. And so, because of that, I think it says it only captures about 5% of your movements. So if it's at the ingress and egress of a city, you pass the camera and you go right. I don't know where you're going from there. I don't know where you're going. I don't know whether you turn right or turn left. I only know if you come back out of the city. And then I'll add in too, again, as far as location of the cameras, you guys have community control on that, working with your agency on where would be the best place that it wouldn't infringe or make anybody feel uncomfortable. You guys have that control as well. Absolutely. Great question.
Other questions? If there are no other questions, I entertain a motion.
That's not a question. So I have a question for you, maybe. You mentioned something about the upgrades, 30 days, and then it deletes.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe it's the chief's question also, but you said that there were restrictions. So if you wanted to have restrictions where you only, if you don't have access for other cities surrounding you to be able to access yours, because that's one part of my question, just kind of confirming that. But do we know the level of, I guess, what the other cities have of their ability? Like, do they have the 5-part package, or do they just have the little one and they kind of rely on us?
Yeah, I don't know what other cities have as far as the levels into flock technology. I do know that Elgin is very flock heavy, and they may be able to speak on what they have or how many cameras. Pflugerville is also a heavy user. And we do share information with both of those agencies because criminals don't know city limits, right? So a lot of times if they're breaking the law or breaking into cars in Pflugerville, they're doing the same in Manor and Elgin. So I can't speak to the level of what they're using. I think Elgin is more in a situation where we have Highway 290 coming through us, and that is a major obstacle for us in bringing criminals through or into or out of that we could be catching if they're committing crime here in Manor. Pflugerville, they do have Interstate 130, but that's going the opposite direction, and I don't know how much they utilize or if they even have cameras on 130. TxDOT has come through the state, and TxDOT uses Flock throughout the state of Texas. But again, the other agencies, I don't know what level that they use at. We get their data, and some of them take our data.
And I just want to add on that for clarity. All of that is audited and can be seen. Again, who access your data, what time, for what reason.
So I'm guessing this is maybe part 2 of that. So like if we only have, I don't want to call it basic, but if we have the basic package where we can just identify the license plate, but Pflugerville had the advanced, so you can see even the color of the car and other little special features. If they were connecting with us to see if the car came our direction, would we be able to, it wouldn't narrow it down, or would like all of us, would we have like temporary access to be able to see those features and narrow it down, or would it still be, we're only limited to just the license plate? Like, because that could go both ways, where it's like where you're not much help since you didn't upgrade your plan, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. Yes, so we're limited to the program of what we pay for. So I guess the question for Flock is, if one of our cameras captures something Pflugerville is looking for and they pay for the premium package, do they get to search ours for at the premium level? Is that what you're saying? That's a question for them. I don't
That is a great question, and I'll be frank with you. I do not know. This is the first time that I've got that question, so that's a great question, and I can definitely do some research and get that answer for you for sure. I will lean on, and this was said before, it being an investigative tool, and so the capturing of the license plate or even the car doesn't necessarily always deliver intent. Again, I don't know who's driving the car. Is it a mom on her way home from work, or is her teen out, gyrating? You know what I mean? So there's still, per your policy, other investigative measures that would go into facilitating that.
Questions or a motion?
Mayor, Council would like to make a motion that we approve the agreement for additional services with Flock Safety and authorize the city manager to execute the order form.
Well, motion on the floor by Councilman Moreno. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Hill. Any questions to the motion?
I have a question. If it's not approved today, is there a timeline on this one also? Or a penalty for the upgrade?
I don't believe so. I think that they will always want us to be a customer and to buy additional services. So I don't think that there's any penalty in waiting. The drawback to waiting is it's a tool that we can't utilize in the investigations that we're doing. That's the only drawback of the waiting.
Is this for just the additional services? This is for the whole contract, right?
This is just for the additional services outlined in the summary form.
Okay, and then what's the cost of the annual that we're paying?
Yeah, I don't know what our annual. I should, because we're doing budget right now. So, but
We're looking that up right now, Mayor.
Okay. It was probably like 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
It's been a little while.
23.
Yes, so 2023.
The
So
year your card.
you were.
Was it after that?
No, it was during that time.
During that, but it wasn't set up yet. We're talking about her car where it got stolen.
And it was hit on a Flock camera, right?
Yeah, same thing with city council member in Kyle, Texas. They had their vehicle stolen, and they had Flock, and they picked it up within 2 hours. So, Mainer's current contract with Flock is $30,000, and then with the additional $28,900, that would turn it into $58,900 total.
Thank you, sir. And council members, 168 item, page 168, fiscal impact says yes, budget item for 25-26. Other questions? Did that answer? Did you get your answer?
Yes, it wouldn't change or the discount if it was approved in 2 more weeks or by May 1st. That's all.
Were you wanting to ask council members about that, or you were just inquiring for yourself?
I was inquiring for myself just to see if because I guess I did want to know, like the question that I asked about the be able to using the package depending on what the upgrades were. That's all. If there was time, if that was sufficient time, or if it happened before then, and maybe it could be approved outside of this. If it was, I don't know. That's legal, but
If it was not reciprocal, you would want to not do it? Maybe let me ask that right. So if we did not have the advanced features and Pflugerville was still able to have the advanced features, then you would not want to approve it. Because you would feel like the features that we have now are fine. Is that yes or that's a no?
it would depend if the advanced features, without the advanced feature, if their advanced features would still be able to allow us to be a benefit to them.
So because they have advanced features, we will be able to see what they see. If one of their vehicles came through, or you mean the reverse?
Yes. I think I'm confused. But yes, I think it was just whether or not they would be able to, if we didn't have our advanced features, would they still be able to be able to take advantage of what we have
From the camera.
Yes. And then
So I guess maybe the first question to ask is, does the camera in its current state already collect all of the information? And if that's the case, then we're either turning on our access to see it or not. Is that correct? Does that make sense?
I would say the difference between the two packages is the ALPR camera is meant to capture the license plate, and then with the upgraded system, you would be able to have more of a definitive red Chevy Cruze RP 812. That way, you're not. That way, it's more effective. So you're not looking for 10 red Chevy Cruzes because there might be a myth. Does that make sense?
Right now, it's just a license plate reader.
Correct.
Which means if I take a license plate off and put on another vehicle, is this going to see the license plate?
No, it's because if you're removing the license plate, then no, and so that's why there's adaptive features, night vision, things.
So I'm
of that
saying
nature.
on our current one, on our current system right now,
Mhm.
it only reads the license plate.
I believe so. Yes.
And so if I take a license plate off the truck and put it on the car, it's going to read the license plate only. It's not going to say it's a car.
Correct.
On the enhanced features, are we adding new hardware to the system?
You're adding the car, make, and model.
Okay, but it's hardware and software that we're adding? Or
Just software.
It's just software.
Software.
So the new software then is going to look at more than just, it's going to activate the camera to be able to capture color.
Color, make, model, as well as is there a bumper sticker on the back and on the bottom right? Is there a specific ding on the left rear tire? All of that will be able to be identified, which allows
you
you
get
to be
more
more
details.
effective. Exactly.
Does that make sense? Okay. And then from there, so it's not hardware, it's software. Software then upgrade now collects more fields. So if Pflugerville has it, my assumption would be if they have the advanced features, they will see whatever they would get to see. The software goes into the camera.
It'll be automatically updated.
But it's going into the camera?
Into the existing camera, yes.
So my assumption would be if the software doesn't go in the camera, you just get, that camera's just a reader. If you need software to open it up to do more, then the advanced features of Pflugerville won't matter here because the camera doesn't get the software upgrade.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we won't be a good partner.
And just to clarify, Pflugerville does have the advanced. Elgin does not.
Elgin does not. Okay. That make more sense now? What, for everybody? Everybody got all right.
So technically, all the cameras would need to get the
cameras would
software.
receive the software update. Correct.
Okay. All right, we got a motion on the floor. Any other questions to the motion? No? All right, we'll take a vote. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you all. Have a
Thank you,
good night.
council.
Item number 15, consideration, discussion, and possible action on a partnership with the Evolution of Health and the City of Manor for June Manor Community Day and 5K. Come on up, sir. And ma'am, that's right. Come on up. I think he said you first, Stephanie. I think that's what they said earlier.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Today I have Derek White with Evolution of Health to propose the partnership with his event, June Manor Community Day and 5K. The date for this event is June 6th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Timmerman Park. This will include vendors, market and food vendors, kids activities, and of course the 5K. And we also can talk a little bit more about that if you guys have any questions.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a very young gentleman that would love to run the 5K. Is that possible, or is he restricted to that 1K?
Good evening. Thanks for the question. He can run in the actual 5K if you like him to.
Yeah, I was thinking there was a little kid that taunted me in one of those 5Ks as he continued to move faster around the 5K. It wasn't last year; it was I think the year before. I took a picture with him. Yeah. So yeah, see, they can get in there, make us all look bad. Other questions, council members?
I know, Stephanie, at the last meeting, one of the tasks was you were going to find additional vendors, 10 vendors. Were you able to do that?
Yes, once we put out a vendor flyer, we'll be able to start getting the vendors that we would want and start sifting through the selection.
See, one of the responsibilities someone will be overseeing the vendors for the event. What will that
Yes, so
involve?
I'll oversee the vendors. I know Mr. White will have some vendors that he would like to add on, so we will work together on getting those vendors to this event.
Thank you.
Were we able to get fire there, or are they still like on call?
Yes, I'm working with Cassidy to get Travis County EMS just because our ESD 12 does not do the on-site standby tent. So I'm working with Travis County to get that standby tent that they'll be on property and won't leave.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not sure what they would or wouldn't do, but maybe ask St. David's and see if they have something that they can maybe connect to. And then who's the other group? Manor Health Clinic. That's the group, right? Manor Health Clinic, Dr. Karen Smith. Yeah, maybe Manor Health Clinic, Dr. Karen Smith, because they volunteer and they do free clinic health, so maybe they can also be on site for medical purposes as well, in case there is that emergency, people have to go. And just a note, next time you talk to Cassidy, just let her know being able to run through the fire hydrant at the end was like a big deal because it was very hot and it was good, refreshing. But I don't know if we may be in a water crisis or something. I don't know, but
I'll let her know.
Yeah,
I will let her
as
know.
allowable and reasonable.
I will let her know.
Yeah,
I agree. As somebody who ran it, it's hot.
I don't know if the Manor Health Clinic would be able to help because the 6 will be there. They do their clinic once a month on the first
On the first
Saturday,
Saturday.
and that
Oh.
is the first Saturday for June, so they may
Okay.
not be a resource.
Okay. We can also, I can see if I can find some contacts for People's Community Clinic or others, if necessary, if the EMS thing won't work out.
We'll reach out to any of the clinics here. So if you
Okay.
have any of the contacts, feel free to send that to me and we'll reach out in addition to Travis County.
Okay. Other questions, comments?
Is there an opportunity for volunteers?
Absolutely.
We need some at stations, or we're good?
Yes, we there's definitely a lot of opportunities for volunteers at the stations. It's no surprise that we may get 50 people who sign up to volunteer, but maybe 10 people who show up. If you go to the event site, there is an option on there to volunteer. And there's a backup link in case that one doesn't work. That will take you to a Google form where you just input your name, and then you receive an email later on. Just let you know. So you have 2 different options to sign up to volunteer. I do ask that you only, if you're able to get through one, don't sign up on the other. Does that answer your question, Ms. Hill?
Can we let Just Serve know? That's an organization here, Miss Margaret, and yeah, I mean Margaret. Yeah.
I can give
Talking
you
about,
From Just Serve?
Huh?
Just Serve?
Yeah.
Yes, I've spoken with her.
Okay, cool. Yeah. She'll be a good person for you to meet. She always has volunteers, and she always likes to volunteer. And then she connects with the Church of Latter-day Saints that's in the area, and they do it. They would volunteer as well, and man the station or whatever. So good people to know. All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, I'll entertain another question or a motion.
Mayor, Council, like to make a motion that we approve a partnership between Evolution of Health with Derek White and the City of Manor for the June Manor Community Day and 5K.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Moreno. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Mesco. Any questions to the motion? No questions to the motion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. All right. Thank you all. Good to see you.
Thank
again.
y'all so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. All right, council members. Number 16, consideration, discussion, and possible action to award a construction contract for Greg Lang ground storage tank and pressurization facility to TTE LLC and the base and alternate bid items amount of $4,619,808.70. Yes,
Good
sir.
evening. Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm very grateful to be here today to be able to ask for this award of the contract for the Greg Lang ground storage pressurized facility with TTE LLC. The additional ground storage capacity supports the city's compliance with TCQ regulations. It also will meet the storage requirements based on the current city's needs and the projected growth. The booster station will also help increase the pressure on the north of the US 290. I also attached, hopefully y'all got the maps that I was able to kind of show. Thank you, Evia. Appreciate it. So you can kind of see this is the New Haven subdivision. This is right, that was the property they donated for us. That's what we've been waiting for to actually get to acquire the land to get the booster station going. It's pretty much all right before the bridge. And you can kind of see there's an aerial map on the top of kind of where that Greg Lang booster station is going to be at. Can you go to the next one? And that is actually the area that we're going to be putting, that's the city's property now, that where we're going to be putting the Greg Lang ground storage tank. There will be some earthwork that we'll have to do to level out, and we will be able to get an entrance right there where the cove is, and hopefully we'll have an entrance also. I think there was going to be one right on Greg Lang.
Well, the
Okay.
you got to get on camera and say your name and stuff. Say it on the mic for us.
this. And if you go to the next map, you can kind of show. I wanted to get a kind of overview of what it would look like as far as pressure. So you can kind of see the blue area. With our new Greg Maynor ground storage tank, we've already seen a significant amount of pressure already building up in our system, but this will help feed all of our east, and it will be a capacity of 500,000 gallons of storage. This is going to also, compiling with the Greg Maynor ground storage tank, it's going to also just help the whole entire system itself as far as pressure and flow.
The construction of this, would it be able to be, what type of impact is it going to have on Greg Lane? In regards to, is it far enough away from the road? Or would they have to have cones and stuff like that?
And it will actually be far enough away. It's also going to be kind of right in line where our water line goes already. We actually receive our water just a little to the west of that from our wholesale provider right now. So it's kind of in line, and that will actually go straight to our elevated storage tank that we have.
Okay. Other questions, comments, council members?
Can you speak on a little bit about TTE LLC, where they're from, and what kind of other projects they've done?
Yes, sir. I did have GBA. They looked at the background and double checked. We actually even gave a call. We know they did some work with a couple, actually the water corporation that we're kind of share lines with. I say lines, it's more area that we're doing. They've done a couple of other spots, and they did have a good rapport. As far as exactly where they're from, I'm not. Do you know?
Marble Falls, I think. That's
Yeah, they're based out of Marble Falls.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I can't say that I've actually worked with them on a previous project, not for Maynor, but for somebody else, and we didn't have any issues with them. So.
Just out of curiosity, when we collect bids for projects, do we collect base locations for the ones to where we can go back and see what parts of the state or country we get bids from? Do y'all know if that information is kind of collected?
Well, I know as far as what bids we got, I know we got 9 different bids for this project.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that we were able to compare the price from our Greg Maynor ground storage tank compared to this one. It's pretty much really exactly the same.
Well, no, I don't mean the price. I'm actually looking at just registered office locations. Is that usually in the standard part of the application? Because I just
yes, sir.
It's just more so piggybacking off of what Councilmember Moreno asked in regards to, seeing where we get a lot of our bids from, whether it's Texas, and if it is, what parts of Texas, or if it's, companies that are mainly based out of state but have a local office, that kind of stuff.
Most of the ones for Greg Maynor and for Greg Lane, they all were within Texas. Some were based out of Horseshoe Bay, some out of Austin. I think the furthest away may have been somebody out of Houston, but for the most part, recently we haven't had any out-of-state bids, and most of them are based and have companies in the state of Texas.
Okay, and mostly Central Texas.
Yes, mostly in Central Texas.
Okay. All right. Other questions, council members? If not, I'll entertain the motion. Was there a rep here tonight too?
I'm sorry?
Was there a representative tonight from the project?
The construction company? No, sir, there is.
Oh, okay. Do we know how far they are on all that trail stuff, on the trails and sidewalks?
That you're talking about for the street project?
Hmm?
You talking about for the street project?
Not just the trails that was going around that area. It's just
That'd be more of a development.
If you go back to the last image, you can see the trail that was New Haven's responsibility. So that's in for the portions of the subdivision they've constructed. There'll be further extensions of it north in their development when they get to their later phases.
Okay.
And it will connect to the trail that Monarch Ranch will be building that goes to Okras, that connects to Shadow Glen. And that is also in Monarch Ranch's later phases, Okras later phases, but it's part of their PUDs to do it. The only portion to be worked out is actually the connection under the bridge.
Okay. But
it's
is it, because I saw the image and I didn't know if this was just kind of the paved path and it's done, or if it's unusable, or if it's not released yet for usage.
It's been accepted, right?
It's been accepted.
Yeah.
It's been accepted.
Yes. People use it right
Yeah,
now.
it's paved. It's been in for a little bit. It's just,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
And the fencing around the pump station will, the trail will be outside the fencing.
Yeah.
So we made sure it was located where it wouldn't interfere.
Thank you. All right, I'll take a motion.
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve and award the construction contract with TTE LLC for the base and alternate bid amount of $4,619,808.70.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilmember Moreno. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Ware. Any questions to the motion? No questions to the motion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving right along, council members, item number 17, consideration and discussion of possible action on a special use permit for 15,000 square feet, professional office, medical use. This one we was waiting on? No.
This request postponed to
Postponed
May 20th.
May 20th. Council members, can we get a motion to postpone item number 17 to May 20th?
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we postpone item number 17 to the May 20th regular city council meeting.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilmember Moreno. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Weir. Is there a question to the motion? No questions. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next item, number 18. This wasn't the same thing.
No, they can
Okay.
take action on this item.
Consider discussion and possible action on a subdivision concept plan for Kimbrough Crossing being 17 lots on 52.69 acres more or less, and being TCAP parcel 236951, also known as 14018 US Highway 290, Maynard, Texas. Okay, council. Any questions for this one? For the this one we do have, or do we? Do we have anybody for this one? Yeah.
The applicants here, if you have questions for them.
Do
as
we
well.
have any more questions for the applicant? I have a few questions. They're more so wonderings than actually, hard questions. And it's more so in regards to kind of what your ideal situation in regards to how those 17 lots will kind of fill up.
For us, the developer is purchasing the 2 lots, the Academy and Hobby Lobby, from Barth Timmerman. There are potential plans in the works for our developer to purchase the 2 lots to the east of it, to make one contiguous building, filling it up with a Home Goods and a Sprouts. As far as the remaining lots, those won't be part of our client, our developer's deal, but we envision small restaurants, and maybe a few sit down places, other commercial retail centers.
Okay. Questions, council members? You have any anticipated timelines on the 2 or the 4 total that you're part of?
For the first 2, we're working to get the preliminary plat and the CDs in. So hopefully, middle of the year we can start construction. For the next 2 phases, we're still working out preliminary site plan details to see if he can make it work.
Okay. All right, if there's no questions, I entertain questions or a motion. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Questions or a motion? I'll give y'all some time to scroll. Anyone there yet? We're gonna make a motion.
I had a question. I was
Okay.
trying to find it so I wouldn't just be redundant. But phase 1 of Old Kimbrough Road,
Mhm.
which one is the north side? Which way is that coming? Is that like leaving Maynard, not on 290, or coming off of 290 and going onto Old Kimbrough?
Phase 1. That'd probably be the north side because they built it out. Manor Heights did. It's part of their development into the 2-lane configuration, and then they'll extend that further up. But the south side is as it has been, the original 2-lane configuration. But yeah, the north side that had a phase 1 to it and a future phase 2 for the roadway. Does that answer your question? Is that what you're asking?
No, Scott, I wasn't a Girl Scout. I don't know my north south.
North, if you're leaving Manor, it goes off to the left.
Okay. Got it. And I guess my big concern was that based off of like the normal traffic pattern of where, because it seems like we do have more traffic going one of those directions on Old Kimbrough more than we do another one. And so if it was based off of a study already, maybe a TIA study, but just making sure that was the one that was most significant is the one that gets the attention first.
Sure. So Manor Heights, or Old Kimbrough on the north side, so within Carillon, Manor Heights, that was expanded because the roadway went through their development, and so they did have certain traffic mitigations they would have had to do to it with adding all of the houses and traffic residents on it. But part of their TERS and their PID was making it a 4-lane collector, consistent with the city's thoroughfare plan. So they've actually, Manor Heights, sort of overbuilt it as sort of part of their incentives and package with the city. But this also adds a right turn lane to it. So it adds additional turning capacity. And we've been talking with TxDOT about how that intersection works with the additional lanes on the north side, but not on the south side, and making sure that there's safe movement and future expansions of that intersection can be accommodated.
But none of it is the city's responsibility to build and
No, this is all developer led. Mm-hmm.
And I would say, Council, to Scott's point about working with TxDOT, we are working with the owners on the south side of 290 to maybe see if we can secure additional right-of-way, because we know if we get additional right-of-way identified, then it allow future development on the south side to plan, knowing that potential dedicated right away could be something to work with. So I think that's going to be helpful with the way the turning movements are. If you notice, it's really chopped up pretty bad. So the goal is to make sure we can make those improvements at the intersection. Hopefully we can get the right of way and make those improvements on the south side of 290 there too as well.
I think I've always seen at the end of the day more people cutting through the 973 route or traffic, and then they end up coming up that side.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not just people from the neighborhood in the morning that are just leaving, but it's just high traffic on that
Yes.
side, and you can tell in that little corner curve just kind of gets worn out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but as long as it's not us, I'm okay.
Are we good? We'll take that motion.
Mayor, Council would like to make a motion that we approve a subdivision concept plan for Kimbrough Crossing, being 17 lots on 52.69 acres, more or less, and being TCAD parcel 236951, also known as 14018 East US 290 Highway, Manor, Texas.
A motion on the floor by Councilmember Moreno. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Mesquite. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Moving on to item number 19. Where'd it go? There we go. Consideration, discussion, possible action on a special use permit for 5,725 square feet of medical office, one lot on 6.76 acres, more or less, and being Los Entradas North, also known as 12420 Tailgang Pass, Manor, Texas. Yes, sir.
This one we're requesting postponement to May 20th, so Planning Commission can make a recommendation on it to bring back to you all.
You have a motion on the floor.
Mayor, Council would like to make a motion that we postpone item number 19 until the May 20th regular City Council meeting.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Moreno. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Weir. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. I think we are, for number 20, postponing that one. No? 21. We're pulling it. Yes, ma'am.
I'm here for item 20.
Hmm?
I'm here for item 20.
Okay. Consideration, discussion, possible action regarding the ordinance of the City of Manor, Texas, making a finding of special benefit to the property in improvement area number 5 of the Manor Heights Public Improvement District, providing for a method of assessment of special assessments against property in improvement area number 5 of the district, and approving an assessment roll for improvement area number 5 of the district, levying assessments against property within improvement area number 5 of the district, providing for payment of assessments, providing for penalties and interest on delinquent assessments, establishing lien on property within improvement area number 5 of the district, approving an amended and restated service and assessment plan, providing for related matters in accordance with Chapter 372 Texas Local Government Code, providing for an effective date and providing for severability. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, council members, Veronica Rivera, Assistant City Attorney. Now you just had your public hearing on the service and assessment plan and the levying of assessments. Again, this is for improvement area number 5. We do have someone from P3 if you'd like to, if you like more information or have any questions regarding the service and assessment plan. As I mentioned to you, it will also serve as the annual service and assessment plan for that is required by state statute now. We also have the applicant here if you have any questions for them, and I'm here if you have any additional questions.
Any questions, council members? We'll take questions or for legal or for the applicant, or we entertain a motion.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve ordinance number 817 regarding the levy of assessments in the improvement area number 5 of the Manor Heights Public Improvement District and approve the 2026 amended and restated service and assessment plan.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilmember Moreno. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Weir. Any questions to the motion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. All right, item number 21 is the one we're not doing, right? Okay, I knew it was one of those. All right. City Council will now convene into executive session pursuant of the provisions of Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Time is 10:23 p.m. City Council will now reconvene into open session pursuant to the provisions of Chapter 551 Texas Government Code. Take action, if any, on items discussed during closed executive session. In regards to item number 22, we have no action. Staff is being given direction on what to do with that item. In the lines of number 23, we also have no action. And so we are now adjourned.